But then the reaction of the BJP spokesman in Tamil Nadu was stranger. He thought that the freedom of press did not extend to making fun of the country and its 140 crore people. This is my take. The nation wants to know why in the times now, in our republic, in India today, it is so hard to tolerate a healthy sense of humor, the ability to laugh at oneself or take a dig at the government. I then moved to another major theme that has emerged from what law has developed in this country, that is, criticism of the government is not anti-national. The US Supreme Court in New York Times versus Sullivan reminded that criticism of the government and those in administration, even by factually inaccurate statements, would not be actionable unless made with malice. In the Derbyshire County Council case, the House of Lords held that if institutions of government were permitted to sue for libel, it would place too undesirable a fetter on the freedom of speech. This in principle has been adopted by our Supreme Court too, and yet it is not being followed in practice. 3 instances will suffice to make the point. In 2023, the BBC broadcast a documentary that examined the present PM's action during the Gujarat riots of 2002. The ministry immediately invoked the emergency provisions of the IT rules and ordered it to be taken off the air. Was it a mere coincidence that this was soon followed by income tax personnel conducting surveys of the BBC's offices in India? The official spokesperson of the ruling party held a press conference in which he railed against the BBC as the most corrupt, with a history of working with malice against India. He rechristened BBC as the Brushed Bakwas Corporation. The reason for the takedown order remains secretive till date. A petition questioning the government action is yet to be heard and decided in the Supreme Court. Another batch of petitions, now on the back burner, is the one concerning the use by the central government of Pegasus spyware to place under surveillance the mobile phones of politicians, journalists, and even judges. The committee set up by the Supreme Court, headed by a former Supreme Court judge, submitted a report more than 2 years ago. The committee said that the central government was refusing to cooperate. The report remains in a sealed cover in the Supreme Court. After a long gap, the Supreme Court has now agreed to hear this case in April this year. The third egregious instance is the government blocking the entire website of Ananda Vikatan, a renowned and popular Tamil magazine, only because it carried a cartoon showing the PM in shackles seated next to Trump during his recent visit to the US. This angered the BJP state unit president, on whose complaint the ministry acted with alacrity. The Madras High Court ordered lifting of the blockade, but unfortunately made it conditional upon Ananda Vikatan taking down the cartoon. This is totally contrary to the settled legal position that mere criticism of the government, even if ill-informed, is not anti-national. It cannot result in a chilling effect on free speech. The defense of this measure by the Additional Solicitor General in the Madras High Court made curious reading. He cited friendly relations with foreign states, a ground of restriction under Article 19(2). It is hard to imagine Trump looking at that cartoon in Ananda Vikatan and deciding to break off diplomatic ties with India. But then the reaction of the BJP spokesman in Tamil Nadu was stranger. He thought that the freedom of press did not extend to making fun of the country and its 140 crore people. This is my take. The nation wants to know why in the times now, in our republic, in India today, it is so hard to tolerate a healthy sense of humor, the ability to laugh at oneself or take a dig at the government. I move on to the next broad theme, that the courts need an independent media. On 12th January 2018, something extraordinary happened. A press conference was held by 4 of the senior most judges of the Supreme Court, 4 senior most after the Chief Justice of India. They went public on how the then CJI was acting arbitrarily in the matter of allocation of cases. The judges said that with the independence of the judiciary and the future of democracy at stake, they had no other choice but to communicate to the nation to please take care of this institution. When asked why now, the senior most of the 4 is supposed to have said that they did not want any wise men to say 20 years later that Justice Chalameshwar, Ranjan Gogoi, Lokur and Kurian sold their souls and did not take care of the interests of this illustrious institution. It is quite another matter that the next Chief Justice of India, who was part of those four and who saw much value then in both an independent and noisy journalists and judges, was only too eager to gag the media when presiding over a bench on a Saturday morning on 20th April 2019 to address threats to the independence of the judiciary. He used this occasion to discredit his lady staffer who accused him of sexual harassment. He appealed to the wisdom of the media not to report on it. The courts regularly use the media to carry their press releases on judiciary's achievements, the disposal of cases in Lok Adalats. Incoming and outgoing CJIs give interviews to a select few journalists. A few correspondents are favored by some of the chief CJIs and sometimes other judges with exclusive scoops about the institution's inner workings. Like this morning, everybody wants to know why is it that only one newspaper carried this news and not the others. Not infrequently, a garrulous judge holds forth from the dais, making gratuitous comments, wanting them to be relayed through the press. Post-COVID-19, with hybrid hearings and live streaming of court proceedings, judges are in the public eye even if the press isn't watching. Social media has exposed many more dimensions of the judiciary. When the PMO's social media handle shared the video clip of the PM doing Aarti at the Ganesh Puja at the CJI's residence, it naturally became viral. Video clips of comments made by judges, not just inside the courts but outside too, are available within a few minutes to an entire social media audience across continents. Judicial vanity, judicial peeve, judicial wit, judicial anger are all on full display.